Okay, we'll be starting. Hello again after the break. So we'll start the next part of the conference. So we'll start with the presentation of Julius, who is CEO of PowerPlay Studio. He will be sharing his experience with Google campaigns and UA, with Google in general UA activities.
So hey everyone, my name is Julius Vencel. I'm the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, also a board member of a company called PowerPlay Studio. And I'll be talking about Google Web Campaigns and how to scale your user acquisition outside Facebook, which ultimately led to doubling of our monthly revenue. If I refer to Google Web Campaigns as UAC or Universal Web Campaigns, you know what I mean, it's the same thing, even though the word universal was removed from the official name. It's just my habit. So here we go, a bit about us. The company was founded in 2007 in Slovakia, and the HQ is located in Warsaw, which is the capital. Now we started as an indie studio. We're actually the number one indie studio in Slovakia, and one of the biggest studios in Slovakia as well. Pixel Federation being our bigger brother. And if I say indie studio, well, independent maybe not by size, because we have approximately 50 employees, but in terms that we have no investors. Also, all our we are our own publishers, and all the departments are in-house. So that goes for the user acquisition as well. We are doing everything by ourselves. We try to limit all the third-party usage and agency as much as possible. Now, we take from the profit that we make by ourselves, and we try to invest it back to the user acquisition. We are growing slower because of this, because of the lower user acquisition budget without the investors, but still growing, reaching almost 3 million euros for the 2018. And I believe it's going to be way more for this year. Now here's an interesting fact. All of our games are in sports category, and we have 15 games total and 30 million users across them. Now, before I talk about the Google Web Campaigns, I need to mention a few challenges or limiting factors, if you will, that we have to deal with. I need to mention this so you have a better idea or understanding why we're doing certain things. First of all, is all of our games are web-based games. Now, in 2007, when we were developing our first game, it was a hockey manager browser game. It was the first generation of our games because we started to cloning it to different sports. Now we figured, like, if we just change the UI slightly and few gameplay mechanics now and there, voila, there's a brand new game in a short period of time, right? So we continued to do this until Facebook came with its Facebook Canvas platform, and with it came the second generation of our games called Julius. Now the first and latest generation of our games are started in 2015 with the project Biathlomania. It was both browser game and a Facebook game, and we are actually cloning it to this day. We did Tennis Mania in 2017 and Skier Mania 3 in 2018, and actually these three last games, these Mania games, are generating more than 95% of our company revenue. So even though we have 15 games in total, the other projects are pretty much dead, and only these three games are generating revenue, and they are monetized mostly with in-app purchases. But there's a problem to it, because you can't be really successful with just a browser game these days. So in 2017, we realized that browser game and Facebook Canvas is not enough. We have to enter the mobile market in order to survive, right? But there's another problem, that we don't have a native mobile application. It's pretty much a web-based game ported into mobile. So the gameplay is not as optimal as its own PC version, and the retention suffers as well. Here's the average retention for all the users in Biathlomania across other platforms. So you see day one retention. Red one is web, Facebook blue one, Android green one, and iOS yellow one. So mobile has a similar retention, day one retention to web, and that's obviously not a good thing, right? You want your mobile game to have a much higher day one retention. And even since day three, the mobile retention is actually lower compared to web, right? Same goes in the other project, Skier Mania 3, but here the day one retention is actually even lower, just because it's a niche product. So how to overcome this challenge? Now you can say make a native mobile application, and yes, that's one thing, but we decided we We're not going to do that for our older projects. Instead, we are developing completely new game, which will be our mobile-only first game, and it will be released later this year. But that's not here, so that's out of the question. So how do we make money with our older projects? So if you take a look at the table, the first two columns are comparing Biathlon Mania web and Android platform. As I said, day one retention is fairly similar, but later on, after 1 month or even after 3 months, like day 90 retention, there's a huge difference, right? You have 0.46% retention, day 90, on Android platform, while you have 3.7% on web. And if you take a look at the LTV, which is the thing that matters, lifetime value after 90 days, you have 7 cents on average per Android user, while you have €1 on a out-of-web user, right? Next to comes another project, Seasonality Free. Again, Android and web, day one retention fairly similar. Day 90, 1% Android users, 6% web users. Again, huge difference, right? LTV, 20% out of Android user, and €2.5 for web users, so that's more than 10 times that. So you can say, why are you even bothering with mobile because you have so much higher retention and so much higher LTV on web? Well, it's yes and no, because as I said, you can't be really successful with just the browser game these days. It's much harder to acquire, it's harder to scale the user acquisition on web platform. It's much easier to do it on mobile, right? So the answer is yes, do a user acquisition on mobile, but let them play in web. Try to close those users. And yes, before you say anything, it's not allowed to directly send them to across another platform, so we're not doing that. But there are ways that you can help those users to discover that there's a web version. For example, if your community management is making a Facebook competition, and let them ask him a question, and the answer to pouring in reward, obviously, and the answer is only to be found on web version. So they will discover they will find out that there's a web version, and actually the gameplay is better there, it's 30% cheaper, right? So they will start playing there, and they will play there longer with higher retention. So the mobile application will become pretty much as an extension to the PC version. Now, the second challenge is sports category itself, actually. This diagram shows distribution of genres in US top 500 grossing list in April of 2018. It's a bit older data from last year actually, but still sufficient for showcasing that the sports category is actually one of the smallest out there, right? It's right at the top next to simulation and arcade with 2.9%. Now, but it's not just one of the smallest segments, it's very special as well, because you have niche markets within the segments as well. What do I mean about that? Basically every sport is a niche market or niche product with its own limited audience that is different compared to other sports, right? If you have biathlon, for example, the audience for biathlon game isn't necessarily interested in hockey or football or snooker or golf or any other sports, and it's vice versa, even though it's in the same category. So you have a small category and you're continuing to segment it even more to smaller markets. So solution to this, we actually made it our advantage because we specifically chose sports such as biathlon or ski jump that has very low competition, and it's not an interesting market for the bigger companies and those giants because it's so small. But then for the smaller companies and individuals even, you're already here and you have to compete us. And the third challenge is seasonality. If you have two winter games, believe it or not, it's not doing that great in summer, right? The user acquisition suffers a lot. Basically, click-through rates, cost per installs, activity in the game, retention, LTV, basically every metric you're tracking or KPI is going to be worse outside of season. So the solution to this is either try to avoid seasonal games or do what we did, is cover the opposite season with different projects. We have tennis for summer, also another club coming up. It's going to be athletics, it's going to be here early 2020. So obviously the user acquisition is pushed towards tennis in summer, and in winter it's going to be those winter games like biathlon or ski jump. Now for the final presentation you're all here. So what was our user acquisition in the past, right? So since our games are a niche market, focused mostly on Europe in the sports category, it became more difficult to find and target new users who are interested in these types of games and retain them, right? We have very little to almost no organic traffic, so we rely on heavy performance-based user acquisition. So the marketing strategy in the past was mainly about strict targeting and best possible cost per install. Therefore, 90% of the user acquisition budget was spent outside of Google. Yes, we are investing in Google Display Network, we had some search ads running, but we were investing elsewhere as well. For example, television during World Cup or World Championship events, and we were and still are testing a few other networks. But for us, Facebook for us was always a clear winner in terms of performance, right? So if you take a look at the picture on the right side, it's a good representation when comparing the size of investments in different channels, right? The majority was in Facebook, Google not so much, I would say it was less than 10%. I'll show you what happened since December 2018 with game Seasonality 3 as an example. Now I'll be sharing a real data, real numbers. Very few companies are willing to do that. So there will be a couple of slides like this. I will explain everything here so we can move on faster on the next slides. So this is an average for a campaign. We roughly invested 11,000. And this is the user acquisition for Facebook Canvas platform, as we are still doing Facebook Canvas platform. So it's from Facebook to Facebook Canvas platform. And as I said, this is an average for the campaign, but we evaluated on more granular level. Basically, every campaign consists of many, which we call groups. And one group is basically like a mini campaign with its own targeting, with its own geo. It's mostly Europe, countries like Poland, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Finland, Norway, and but they are all evaluated separately, but they are all part of this campaign as an average. For the lines, the green line represents active paying users in the game that came from this campaign on a particular day. As I said, active users for us is someone who logs at least 3 times a week. So if you didn't log 3 times a week, you're not an active user, so obviously you have to pay as well to be active paying users. The blue line is ROAS, return on ad spend, and the flat orange one indicates 100%. So if the blue line crosses the orange one, it means you reach return on ad spend, and you're pretty much making profit out of this point, which in this case happened after 99 days. So yes, we are still ROI positive after, even for Facebook Canvas platform, and that's with day one retention being average just 10% on that platform, right? That's pretty low, but still ROI positive, and with day 90 retention 2%. Just because of the LTV being 83 and cost per install 72. So that was the explanation, and that was Facebook Canvas platform. Let's compare it to the mobile application. So this is from Facebook to Android in Google Play, right? So day one retention, again, every campaign I've been comparing is comparable one to another, set similar targeting, similar audience, similar geos, and same time period. So day one retention is much higher that was compared to Canvas platform, but the day 90 retention is lower, so is the 90 LTV. But just because of the low cost of install being just 16 cents on average, the return on ad spend took only 57 days, right? So we were like, okay, the application shows potential, but is it scalable? That was just 11,000 invested. So upon investing twice as much, the metrics got worse, but it's understandable and scaling. The cost per install was higher, retention is lower, but so is LTV is lower, 23 cents. And just because of that, the return on ad spend prolonged to 104 days, right? That's still good. You're still ROI positive after 100 days. But because of the low retention and low LTV, and if you take a look at the green line, those that are the active paying users, they are dropping quite fast, right, on mobile application. So just because of that, the return on ad spend, the blue line, isn't raising or isn't like, it's not consistent as it was before, right? So you can't scale it endlessly because at some point you will reach diminishing returns. So that was Facebook. But what about Google? I said we were doing Google Display Network, and this is it. So let's compare it to the Canvas platform. Right? Day one retention was much higher, so was cost per install is actually lower than it was Canvas platform. But day 90 retention is highest from them all, right? It was the best long-term retention we could get, and so was the LTV. And if you take a look at the blue line, which is the return on ad spend, it's still increasing consistently because those active paying users are not dropping that fast. So you have like the return on ad spend took only 56 days, and you have 350% after 160 days. That's amazing, right? But another question we want to ask is this scalable? So upon investing 4 times that much, 32,000, yes, the metrics got a bit worse again because of the scaling, cost per install got higher. But day one retention, both short-term and long-term, were actually weaker than before, but still were better than most of any other channel we could get, right? But the day 90 LTV actually increased to 1.6 euros. So the return on ad spend took still only 66 days, and it was still rising consistently. So the Google was actually outperforming Facebook by quite a lot. It was the best channel we could get outside of mobile. And we thought like, hey, if this is the best channel outside of mobile and the mobile application is actually performing quite decently, let's try to do a mobile application with Google, right? So the Google App Campaigns format was launched for us in December 2018 as a way for diversifying the risk and to test how the Google's machine learning technology will stand against the other ad networks and channels in the digital markets, right? So the day one retention was comparable actually to Facebook. The 90 retention and the 90 LTV was a bit lower, but keep in mind this is without any targeting whatsoever, right? This is also, I need to mention that there are more types of UAC, and we started with the most simple one. This was it. Not optimizing on anything, it was just pure install volume. So it was a Google campaigns focused on install volume. So this was no targeting whatsoever, and still the retention and LTV was comparable to Facebook. But just because of the extremely low cost per install being just 8 cents on average, the return on ad spend took only 41 days, which was the quickest we could get ever. So again, growing the user base of our game is an important operational goal. So again, we were asking, is this scalable? Which brings us to driving growth. We actually scaled it so much and drive growth so much that we got 1.1 million installs in just few weeks. So it was fast, it was easy to set up, effective and efficient solution that helped us deliver high amounts of installs while gaining the first position in Play Store rankings in sports category in 7 countries. Like we were number 1 in Poland, Norway, Slovenia, Finland, Austria, Luxembourg, Switzerland, number 2 in Slovakia, Germany, and many, many more. Basically, we were top 10 in the whole Europe. But it wasn't just the sport game category. You guys here loved ski jumping for some reason. We were in February, we were the number 3 application overall on Google Play. So you had like, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, then it was ski jumping at 3, right? So this was a major success for us because it had a extremely low cost per install, being just 13 cents, and the retention and LTV was comparable to other channels, but it was much more scalable than anywhere else, and we were reaching return on ad spend at the same time, right? But this is driving growth. Driving growth is one thing, and finding high-value users is another, right? Because it's not about cost per install, it's more about the LTV, which is the lifetime value of the users. So we took an advantage of the machine learning technology, and UAC was used to gain an understanding of all types of player behaviors within our sport games, specifically to detect substantial events such as players completing certain levels or players making purchase, which is, again, this is the case as an example. So the event was purchase, and we were testing Google App campaigns focused on in-app actions, right? This is again real data, a screenshot from AdWords or Google Ads platform from the test that was done in February for those in-app action focused Google App campaigns. And again, it was done in countries like Austria, Finland, Norway, Switzerland, Slovenia, Poland, and Germany. We invested like 13,000, I don't know, can't see the numbers, 13,000 in Austria, Finland, 7,000 Norway, and stuff like that. We were actually performing decently, so we decided to scale into countries. That was Poland here, 41,000, and Germany, 44,000. Now the cost per install was on average 1.1 euro approximately, but again, average is a crappy metric because you see that Poland has 50 cents, Germany is 1.22, Norway 1.85. But again, average was 1 euro. But the retention was actually higher compared to anywhere else we got in February. It was higher than television, it was higher than Facebook, it was higher than install volume focus, USC. But actually the LTV was 4 times higher, it was 82 cents. It was 4 times higher than anywhere else. So it was another major success for us because not only we could scale, but the machine learning technology were all really delivering those high value users, right? Because the LTV was so much higher than anywhere else. So I told our CEO during those 3 months since December 2018, like, listen, we have to invest everything we have right now because of the opportunity I saw in Google App campaigns. We actually did that, and we even took a loan because we didn't have that much money, and we invested 1 million euros into user acquisition. And we completely changed the user acquisition budget because it completely shifted because it was previously 90% outside of Google, and it was now 70% in favor of Google, right? So UAC was a fantastic tool because it helped us not only to scale our user acquisition, but also improve retention and improve the return on ad spend, which ultimately led to doubling of our monthly revenue, right? We were used to be around 200,000, and we did 500,000 this April. Now, for the last part of the presentation, I have some tips for you guys that we learned on the way with using Google App campaigns. Now, the first one is language localization. Localize whenever it's possible. And it's not only text ideas, it's also videos. Like we had some TV spots that were in different languages, so we were using those as creators as well. And even in text images, if you have call to action buttons in them, right? It's not like you can run Google App campaigns without localization. It's perfectly fine to do it in English, but language localization is one of the ways how to squeeze those few extra percent in terms of performance. The second tip is be creative perfect. What do I mean about that? Well, make sure you upload maximum amounts of every creative possible. That's 4 text ideas, 20 images, and so on and so on. But not only that, make sure you are using different sizes and different formats. Again, example for video. You have a landscape video. Good for you, great. But do you also have a portrait video? Do you also have a square video? Are you using videos of different lengths? 10-second video, 15-second video, 30-second video? If not, make sure to diversify because there is nothing like one creator to do them all for Google App campaigns. And same goes for text ideas and images, and you can even do playable ad in HTML5. The third one is be patient. Now, Google App campaigns work differently what you're used to with Facebook. While you start pretty okay, decently on Facebook, and the performance tends to decrease over time because of the reach, the creative fatigue, all the things you know. It's quite the opposite for Google App campaigns because the performance tend to increase over time when the machine learning kicks in, right? However, there is something like a non-skippable learning phase at the beginning, which usually lasts for around 7 days, where the algorithm is exploring different bit levels, and you should set a target cost per action, which is, or target CPA, which will be your goal you want to achieve, also a ceiling price, and the algorithm will be higher and lower within the ceiling price in order to learn which one produces the best results. And after successful learning phase, the performance will improve significantly, right? However, be aware that the learning phase itself may be a bit more volatile that you might be comfortable with. Again, screenshot from our Google Ads platform, not others. During the learning phase on Poland, the average cost per install was 73 cents, and a week after a successful learning phase, it decreased to 37 cents on average. Again, some tier 1 countries had like 4 euros in learning phase, which later decreased to 1 to 2 euros. But again, that's just cost per install, and it doesn't matter because you know that the LTV was so much higher. So it's not about the cost per install, but about the LTV. Another one is don't do dramatic changes. What you see here on the picture is not a good practice at all. Don't do that. Try to avoid making large big changes, as this can throw off the smooth progress of the targeting algorithm, resulting in big swings in performance. If you need to do some changes, I would suggest make it within the 20% of the previous value, as smaller changes result in more consistent performance. By making of a large big changes, you're forcing the algorithm to explore new areas of the auction where the pricing is different, where the quality user dynamics are different, and due to this, you might even reset the learning period itself, which of course you don't want to. So, whatever you do, try not to do any changes, especially in the first 7 days of the learning period. And last but not least is find the perfect event. Find the event that works best for you, fits your needs, meets your KPIs. It could be really anything. It could be retention, activity, purchase. It could be tutorial completion. If you're monetizing with in-app advertising, it could be rewarded video. It could be really anything, right? But whatever you do, if you are running even optimized campaigns, make sure to run it against an event you have enough event data. Otherwise, there is nothing to learn from for the machine learning technology. Right? There is a minimum of 10 events to be triggered daily per campaign, of course, but obviously that's really a bare minimum. But the more, the better, obviously. For example, we chose an event when players were completing level 15, but it was too far within the game session that only a few events were triggered daily, so we had to lower it to level 10, and that wasn't still enough. They had to be lower 5. So, yeah, that's pretty much from my side. I just have one more thing. As I said, the Google Ad campaign is a fantastic tool that helps us to scale our user acquisition, improve our retention rates, and improve the return on ad spend, which ultimately led to doubling our monthly revenue. However, I do believe that they are not for everyone, especially not for individuals or someone who has very limited budget, because you have to spend a lot of time, effort, and money, obviously, just to make it work, just for the learning phase itself. But if you have no problems for it, also if you want to scale your user acquisition, then it's well worth it, and I suggest that Google Ad Campaign be the next logical step for you. That's it. Any questions?
Questions?
How did you calculate LTV?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. We have our own tool, own admin, and I just see a number, you know.
Magic.
Some IT guy is calculating it, and I just see.
Tomorrow will be more focused around it. Today, how to spend, not.
Talking about LTV, when you say LTV, is it based on tier 1 country, tier 2, or globally? Or
This is actually average for all the users in the game. So it's mixed tier 1 countries and also tier 2 countries. And organic paid acquisition, and it's mixed. It's every user in the game. At least in this table.
Presentation was really great, especially the numbers which you showed, so thank you very much for this. Did you have some campaigns which failed and you had to stop them? And what was the reason of the failure? So maybe some guides that we should avoid?
Okay, did I have some campaigns that I have to stop or?
Yes, some campaigns which were just failing, yes, because of some reason.
You mean just Google campaigns or any user acquisition?
For example, Google.
Yeah, we had some events that were not working, let's say. For example, that level completion, just because we didn't have enough even data, and we were basically spending a lot of money for the acquisition, but the machine learning wasn't sure which to target because of the low amount of the daily triggered events. But and there were also some, there are more types of UAC, as I said. They are focused on actions, focused on install, but there's a mix as well, like install volume, focused on events, and those actually types we hadn't any success with. I would suggest do only install volume or do just action focus. Don't try to mix those because that wasn't working for us.
So you got to return from the investment something 40 days, yes? So do you wait with each campaign is 40 days to wait to cancel it, or you take some action?
It depends on the channel. Like for Facebook, yeah, we're sticking to 14 days and we decide what to do based on the retention, based on the activity, based on the purchases and stuff like that. For the Google campaigns, you have to take, I'd say, I don't know, and 2 weeks is really a minimum because you can't really decide. You have 7 days only to complete the learning phase itself, so you can't change there or anything. And after those 7 days, the magic starts happening. So I would suggest if you're not gaining any better performance after 2 weeks, then try to find some problems and try to fix it. Like, is it wrong in-app, or is it wrong event? Do we have some other problems? I don't know. But yeah, 2 weeks is the minimum to wait for the Google campaigns.
Thank you.
And how did you work with creatives? Did you create them in-house as well, or?
Yeah, we are creating everything in-house.
Okay. And do you focus more on text, or you focus on video, or?
We're focusing more on video, but as I said, we have maximum amount of text ideas, maximum amount of images, and we're making sure to have different sizes and formats. Same goes for the videos, portrait, landscape, square, just to be creative. Perfect.
Thank you.
Hi, you also mentioned that you have LTV calculated for campaigns that and users that came from TV commercials or spots. So how do you calculate this LTV? Do you take this window during the day? And
Yeah, we have actually for TV spots. We know when there was a TV spot, and we actually manually take all those users that came after 20 minutes after the TV spot and make a campaign for them. After all those 20 minutes, it's everything organic. So we basically, because you can't track TV spot, right? It's all organic for you. But if you know when the TV spot was aired, you can manually move to organic and attribute them to the TV spot.
Have you used any external agencies for the UA, or everything is done in-house?
Yeah, we tried. We are trying a few other networks. In the past, we were trying even for the web campaign, web-based, some agencies. But we're trying to, as I mentioned, we're trying to limit it as much as possible, or the first-party usage, because we're getting better performance, and of course, more effective time, money, understanding, because they don't have the know-how. So yeah, we try to do everything by ourselves, but if we're gonna have some other network that's working, why not? But we try to limit that.
I mean, specifically for the UAC, everything is done in-house?
Yeah, for the UAC, everything is done in-house. We don't have any agency for UAC.
There was one slide about finding high-value users, and I noticed that the CPI was higher than the LTV. And was it one of your first campaigns? So that you learn how to conduct them, or the question is if it broke even or did not.
Yeah, the CPI was higher compared to day 9 LTV, so that's after 90 days. So after 1.5 days, it's ROI positive. And also that was just an average CPI, as I said, for Poland it was just 50 cents, right?
Okay.
So all in all, we were still making money.
Okay, thank you very much.